Check it out. Rolling Loud. That's Rolling Loud sponsor. Rolling Entertainment. Had a whole bunch of writers.
There's one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What's up, bro? You doing all right? Good. Cool, man. Lift, man. Lift. Right. I'm gonna need some more chairs.
Yeah, I think so. I believe so.
You want to grab what they got or what we want to do?
There's a few in a row here. This is on the spot. Yeah.
All right. Hey, how's everybody doing this morning? Man, come on now. Y'all know this is exciting. Come on. First of all, welcome. Thank y'all for coming to this awesome event. We are live streaming. You are live. It's being watched nationwide here in New Black Wall Street. My name is Bruce LaBelle. I'm a board member of the CCA, Conservative Community for America, along with Juan, who is our executive director. We do tours around the country on issues that impact Black culture. I love the topic generational wealth, so it's always fun to be in a room that talks and promotes generational wealth. So this is one of these events that we've done. We were here in November for small business and access to capital. What does that look like in Black business, et cetera? We have about 300-400 people here, and we have a great crowd again. So thank y'all for coming. Before we get going, I just want to make this real quick. These are kind of the rules. All right, the rules. Everyone knows the restrooms are right up, way up front by the entrance. Okay, you go out that doorway to the front. We have refreshments and things on the side. One of the rules that I like, and I love these types of events, is that they're nonpartisan. We're not interested in anything political. All we care about is the balance sheet, things that make sense. Remember, if it's not making sense, it's not making money. So that's the whole premise of this type of meeting that we're having. So we put all that out to the side. So that's great news about this great event. So that's a little rule right there. But before I get going, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, for the sake of time, I'm going to ask Dr. Abida King. We always like to start off, let's put God in here. Let's get the right spirit going in here. I appreciate all our farmers that drove so many miles, some from out of state. Where are all our farmers? Could you please raise your hand, please? Wow. Some drove from other states. Anyone from neighboring states here? I know there's 3 or 4 hour commutes from Middle Georgia and South Georgia. Thank you for making this community. This is so important. We're anxious to hear what you have to say, what were your challenges, how you built your farm, where did it come from. So a lot of people in the audience wants to hear that. So we're going to move this along real quick. So what I'm going to do for the sake of time, I'm going to ask Dr. Abida King to my left to start us off here right before we get going.
Very quickly, I'm an advisor to Brother LaBelle. I've got a business venture myself. You'll be hearing more about it soon. So pray for me as well. Now, right hand over your heart and raise one hand. Tell me, if you know this song, sing with me just a little bit real quick. In times like these, we need a Savior. In times like these, we need an anchor. Be very sure. Be very sure. Your anchor holds and grips the solid rock. For me, that rock is Jesus. So now we're going to pray real quick. Heavenly Father, we're gathered again here at Black Wall Street. That's just a major blessing. And as we talk, we've got some of our farmers here and entrepreneurs and business folks. And Lord, we're out of Egypt, Lord, and we're out of Lodabar. We're here in America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. So it's one blood and one human race with a lot of ethnic history that's just awesome. We are gathered together to make a difference in this generation, in this decade, and in this moment. Bless everyone here, spirit, soul, body, finances, relationships, and in every way. In Jesus' name, amen. Can everybody say amen? Hallelujah.
Thank you so much. Before we get going, I just want to give a quick shout out to Vivian Childs here from Warner Robins, her awesome husband, Henry Childs. She was helped coordinate advocate on talking and communicating with our beautiful farmers. Thank you, God bless you on that. To my right, I have Ina Bashir, as public affairs, a very large public affairs firm, flew all the way into DC just to be with us. So she'll go around and ask for some testimonies from, don't be camera shy and talk about, some, she's going to ask you some questions, on the video. We appreciate that. And then, of course, without having my beautiful wife to my right, Sharon, is my rock. And we celebrate 29 years of business in April. So I know I don't know what she does. But what I'll do for the sake of time, I'm going to let Mr. Harper introduce himself and the other board folks as we go down.
Kick it off. Well, good morning. It's great to be here this morning with all of you and just have an opportunity to have a conversation about agriculture and especially agriculture from the perspective of minority communities and help work together to ensure that we have opportunities for all of this industry to thrive. But just to introduce myself really quick, I'm a South Georgia boy, born and raised in Osceola, Georgia. Grew up on the family farm down there. I'm a 7th generation farm boy. Still operate a peanut, cotton, timber, and beef cattle operation on our family farm. For the last 10 years, I was honored to represent South Central and Southeast Georgia in the Georgia State Senate. But today and currently, just got elected this past fall and a little over a month in office as the 17th Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of Georgia. And so it's been an awesome opportunity to work every day to lead our agricultural industry in the state of Georgia. And I look forward to this conversation and look forward to seeing ways that we can help do that. I'm an ABAC grad, I'm a University of Georgia grad, go Bulldogs, and just a proud family farm boy from South Georgia and proud to be your agriculture commissioner and just happy to be here. So thank you, Bruce. Yes, sir.
Hey everybody, good morning. My name is Daquan Bruce. I am the Executive Director of CCA, Concerned Communities for America. I'd love to thank you all for being here and being a part of this. I do want to flag that Shauna West, she is passing out for you all question cards. If you do have a question throughout the program, we ask you to write the questions down and Shauna will come and collect it and we'll read the questions out so we can make sure we're moving efficiently and as quickly as possible. But just real quick about why we're here today. This is a part of CCA's Conversation with Black America tour. And what we're doing is we're going around community to community and we're talking about the issues that are important to Black communities so that we can then put together what we call our contract with Black America that we are presenting to members of Congress to champion at the federal level. The input that you give today will not only have a direct impact in the communities as you have better access to the resources that you need to either grow, scale, or start your farm, but it will also lead to policy recommendations that will affect the Black community and the country as a whole. So I thank you for joining and participating with us. I'm looking forward to a very robust conversation.
Good morning. My name is Neil Hollifield. I'm the Managing Director of Government Guaranteed Lending with Ameris Bank. I am not a farmer. I grew up farming and learned pretty quickly that I didn't have a great thumb. And so I better figure out something else to do. So what we do with Government Guaranteed Lending is we have SBA Guaranteed Loans, Small Business Administration, as well as the USDA Guaranteed Loans and FSA Guaranteed Loans. I've helped, champion the USDA Guaranteed Lending with Ameris Bank. And in August, we were, I like to say we were the first bank that closed the loan under the new Food Supply Chain Guaranteed Loan Program. In reality, I think we were a day short, so we closed the truckload ahead of us. But we closed a pretty large loan for a beef processing facility in the state of Georgia to allow them to expand their production by about 37% when obviously all the upgrades were completed. So we are active in the community. Ameris Bank is 51 years old and started as an ag bank down in South Georgia and Moultrie. So we understand the importance of agriculture
Corey Townsend. I am an SBA lender with Ameris Bank, and I don't know that I would qualify to call myself a farmer. If anything, a hobby farmer. I have 32 acres in Northwest Georgia with Yukon sheep and some honey. Honored and glad to be here to learn more from you about what your needs are in the community and how we can
Basically, he's gonna give 0 interest loans today. 0 down, no payments for a year, 30/30. How about that? So let's be honest with that. Thank you. It's always good to have banking with, because you know, when we start having these conversations, we need experts that can tell you what it looks like. And Neil's gonna also talk about where these zones are. USDA loans, you might qualify for land you might already have. So that's another thing. Real quick, I'm gonna move this along real fast. I'm real anxious to hear what Commissioner Parker does in his agency. You know, what does it look like? How does it work? You know, what are those beautiful grants that you have in your pocket? So I'll yield back and just tell us about the agency and what it has to offer and all the good stuff.
Yeah, be happy to, Bruce. Well, so the Georgia Department of Agriculture is the oldest Department of Agriculture in the nation, which is really neat. So we're the oldest state Department of Agriculture. I have to clarify that. USDA has its beat by a couple of years, but we're the oldest state Department of Agriculture, established in 1874. So if you do quick math, that means next year is the 150th anniversary of the Georgia Department of Agriculture, which is really awesome. So we're looking forward to celebrating 150 years of the department and of Georgia Ag. But our mission at the Department of Agriculture is just this. It's working every day to find ways to help provide resources and promote and give assistance to farmers and producers across this state to find ways to allow them to be successful. But at the same time, our job is to ensure that the consumers are protected and ensure that they have confidence in the food supply chain and food safety and food security. So it's a vast array that the department is responsible for. I tell folks all the time, we work with, we deal with from everything from the gas pumps to the grocery store and everywhere in between. And that's exactly what we do. We have a team of dedicated employees of about 550 employees across the state of Georgia. So we're a very vast agency when it comes to the work that we do every single day in ensuring that our state's #1 industry is successful. And I think that's key that we talk about that, because agriculture is the backbone of Georgia's economy. Agriculture is what has allowed our state to be successful. I say this all the time. Without our state couldn't be successful unless agriculture is successful. And we've been the best place for business for 9 years in a row, but we can't be the best place for business if our #1 industry isn't successful. And that's where agriculture comes in every day. But we've got a lot of work to do in telling that story of what agriculture is and what we do, because ag is way more than cows, plows, and sows. And that's the perception that a lot of people have of agriculture. And it's way more than that. And we have opportunities to invest in new generations to get them involved in this industry and let them know that we need chemists, we need scientists, we need computer engineers, we need doctors, lawyers, bankers. We also need new farmers and producers. Because if we don't have the farmers and producers helping us produce the food, the fiber, and the shelter right here at home, we are not able to ensure that our nation is secure and safe. Because at the end of the day, agriculture is national security, which is why it's important that we give farmers and producers the resources they need to be successful in their business every day. And that's what we're working to do at the Department of Agriculture. And we do have a couple of opportunities that are out there right now that are available. Specifically, we have a local food procurement assistance program that we are administering through the Department of Agriculture. It's part of, obviously, part of our Georgia Grown initiative. All of you, I hope you've heard of the Georgia Grown program. If you haven't, we would love to fill you in on that. The Georgia Grown program is a phenomenal opportunity in giving farmers that grow products here in the state of Georgia an ability to put a stamp that it's grown right here in Georgia. But when you go to the grocery store and you see that Georgia Grown label, you as a consumer know and can have confidence in that product and where it was produced, and know that it was produced in our state at the highest of standards. But Part of that Georgia Grown program is this local food procurement assistance program, LFPA. I'm just going to say that because it's a lot easier than the tongue twister that the long name is. But we have roughly about $23 million in a federal grant to the Department of Agriculture that we're administering. And the purpose of this grant is to provide and purchase food products from socially disadvantaged farmers to be distributed in underserved communities throughout the state. So it's an awesome program in twofold. One, it gives us the opportunity to buy product from our minority farmers and socially disadvantaged farmers around the state. And secondly, it connects them with the food bank program and those that are more food insecure throughout our state. So we're helping folks on both ends of the spectrum through this opportunity and through this program. It's a key goal is obviously to help our farmers and producers in this arena to be able to scale up their operations, to get more financially independent, to become more involved in the agricultural industry and increase their ability and their capacity. I'll say this, that Georgia is the only state right now in the nation that is committed to using 100% of these funds to purchase food products from socially disadvantaged farmers. And I think that is an awesome thing for us to talk about. That we're the only state that so far is committed to utilizing 100% of those funds for that purpose, and that's what we're going to do. The program, you can find out more at servegeorgiagrown.com. We do have a couple of flyers with QR codes on that we can make sure you can get, and obviously you can scan that QR code. We would love for you to sign up. So far, we only have one applicant, and obviously there's requirements in this program, but hopefully we can help you work through that if that's something that you're interested in participating in, because we would love to have more assistance there. Bruce, I don't want to hog the mic. I know I got a lot I could talk about, but there's an awesome opportunity for our farmers and producers right here in the state of Georgia. Obviously, urban farming has become more of a thing in our state as well, especially in our more metropolitan areas across the state. The mayor, Mayor Dickens, and his what he's doing through his program called Aglanta, and the partnerships that we see between the Department of Agriculture and the city, as well as other cities throughout the state, on how we can increase opportunities for smaller farmers and smaller opportunities. Last year, the state of Georgia funded for the first time ever an urban agricultural specialist through the University of Georgia that will help us build out these programs and build out opportunities in the more urban setting to ensure that our folks in those areas as well have opportunities in urban agriculture. I've spent some time with Mr. Bobby Wilson. I don't know if any of y'all know Mr. Bobby, but he has the Metro Atlanta Urban Farm in College Park and is doing a phenomenal job in his farming operation. But we have opportunities for more folks to do things like Mr. Bobby does and give people opportunities to do that. And we're committed at the Department of Agriculture to helping bridge those divides and bridge those gaps and finding ways to allow everyone that wants to be involved in agriculture to have an opportunity to do it and be successful at the same time. And I know we have challenges in getting us there, but we're looking forward to opportunities we can work together to ensure that we're able to help address those challenges because we know those opportunities are available that can help anyone succeed that is willing and able to be involved in the field of agriculture, because I can promise you the opportunities are vast. And if we don't focus on providing our farmers and producers the resources that they need to be successful, and I'll get back to this point, why this is important. Agriculture is national security, and I said that earlier. If we're not providing the food, the fiber, the shelter for ourselves right here at home and our own borders, we're less safe as a state, as a community, as a nation. That's why it's vital that we partner together and we work together to ensure that our farms and our farmers are successful, but also find ways to get more people involved in this industry, because it is imperative for the long-term viability of our state, our communities, but also the long-term viability and the security of our nation as a whole, which is why I'm committed every day as your Ag Commissioner to ensure that we're working hand in hand to make that happen and which is why I'm here today to help us start that conversation and continue other conversations that have already been had, and find ways to build on opportunities that I think we can have together through this roundtable this morning, and be successful together and allow our ag industry to continue to lead the way in the state of Georgia as it has for many, many years. So I'm just happy to be here, happy to talk about what we're doing. There's so much that I could talk about, but love to open it up to continue the conversation. Bruce, thank you just for giving me a few minutes just to kind of talk about what we're already doing and what we look to continue to do.
Awesome. You know I'm under pressure, like I said.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell the audience, for those who are interested in working in the agency, and what kind of opportunities, because you know the agency is large.
Oh, yes.
Share that with the audience that might, young folks or whoever who want to aspire to work in the agency.
Well, and that's a great point. Like I said earlier, we have about 550 or so employees in the Department of Agriculture, but we have, if you're not interested in necessarily going into ag yourself and you're looking for an opportunity or a job, we have job opportunities at the Department of Agriculture that can help us ensure that our ag industry is successful. A lot of what our employees do, from food safety to meat processing facilities, to pesticide applications, to our plant division, which oversees the hemp program in the state of Georgia, our fuel and measures division. There are a lot of opportunities through the Department of Agriculture. If you're interested in career opportunities and you have an interest in the agricultural industry, we would love for you to consider joining us at the Department of Agriculture. We have a couple of flyers with that information on it as well, with a QR code that you can go to and find out about more career opportunities that we may have at the department. They're actually on our table in the back there by the Georgia Drone sign. You can go back there and pick up one of those if you're interested. But this is another way to be involved in the ag industry, is coming to work for us at the Department of Agriculture. And we have a vast array of opportunities and obviously ways that folks can be involved. And at the end of the day, the Georgia Department of Agriculture impacts every Georgian every day. I would argue it's one of the only, if not the only, state agency that impacts your life every single day. And a lot of that happens behind the scenes. And our folks do a lot of that work behind the scenes. I can promise you, if the Georgia Department of Ag is out front, it's something's happening, and it's not necessarily a good thing. But it is. There are a multitude of opportunities through the Department of Agriculture where you can help us ensure that food supply chain stays intact. Our food safety and security are paramount, and we're working every day hand in hand to ensure that our farmers and producers across the state are successful. So if you're interested in coming and join us, we'd love for you to be a part of the team. And that's another way that you can be involved in agriculture throughout our state.
You know, follow up on you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm waiting on it. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So another part of this too, I noticed, for example, the mini and micro gardens in the backyards. And I've noticed an increase on raising hens in the backyard, producing your own eggs. I'm starting to see an influence. I'm also seeing, Commissioner, families coming together and buying parcels of land and you might say crowdfunding, or doing joint collaborative efforts to put farms together. And I've been seeing that a lot lately. Obviously, with the rising cost of food, y'all see some cartons of organic eggs are $9, $10. The good ones are $5 to $6, depending on where you're at. So I'm starting to see an increase on that. Not just the fact of having a huge farm, but something like my beautiful wife is a green thumb. We got great stuff in our backyard. It just it's not limited, right? Just for when we think of these huge tracts. So talk about some of the experiences you've seen as a result of that.
So I think what's been neat is there's a lot of opportunity in that space. I know there's in one in particular up in Alpharetta, they have a community garden. And what's neat about the community garden that they have there, the city and the local government have kind of worked together to put in. And this is something we're definitely interested in the Department of Agriculture, to finding ways of replicating this and some other opportunities. But it goes to that old saying of, you can give a man a fish and he eats for a day. You can teach a man to fish he eats for a life. Well, agriculture is similar to that, you know, and what they're doing is they're giving folks opportunities to learn how to grow their own products, learn how to grow their own produce, and teaching them how they can do it in small batches, where they can do it in a kind of a garden box back home, in their own small backyard, even in downtown cities where you might not have much room. There's opportunities for you to learn how to do some of this in those spaces. But there's also more opportunities where we're teaching young men and women for the first time. Georgia, which is really awesome. You know, we have expanded the agricultural education opportunities in our state this past year to the K-5 classroom. So now in the state of Georgia, the local school systems have to participate, but you can get an agricultural education from kindergarten to adulthood. We're the first state in the nation to do that. And there's a lot of our school systems in the metro parts of our state. I know in Gwinnett County, I've been to their operation where they're teaching young men and women the tools of the trade, so to speak. They're teaching them about learning about agriculture. They're teaching them skills that they can utilize for the rest of their life. And if they have a strong interest, obviously give them the opportunity to go into the agricultural industry, which I think is awesome opportunities and one of the first steps in what I call investing in the next generation, investing in that new generation of Georgia agriculture from a human capital perspective. We also got to do that from a technological perspective as well. But there are opportunities. I've seen, as we've traveled the state, you have a handful of folks that get together, and as Bruce mentioned, and they might not be able to do so on their own. They come together in more of like a co-op type operation and buy property and buy land and work together jointly as a team in a farming operation. And I think there's opportunities for that as well, to give people the ability to work together to provide a service and to provide a product to serve to their communities. And there's been multitude of those operations around the state that have been successful. And it helps individuals, especially when they get into agriculture, because unfortunately agriculture is a very capital intensive industry. It is very capital heavy. And so when you're able to work together and you're able to come together as a handful of folks, you can pull those resources and pull those opportunities to allow you to be successful. And I think that's where through the Urban Ag program, through opportunities in teaching young men and women on the local level, through community gardens, through other opportunities, we can help build out that infrastructure to allow folks to be successful in their communities and be able to invest in different opportunities. Another place is it's kind of come online, it's new, is controlled environment agriculture and integrated precision agriculture. These are all kind of new terms that are starting to fly around, but this is where you have the opportunity to grow crops 365 days a year, because you can control the environment in the facility. And it can be as small as a ship container, or it can be as large as a football field. There's a variety of aspects in this that we've seen, and new technology that's coming online to allow us to grow agricultural products in a controlled environment inside a warehouse or inside a shipping container. And that's something that is obviously as technology increases and that investment in that technology continues to increase, it allows us to build out those opportunities that may have never been realized before. And continuing to invest in those type of things gives us the ability to have small and smaller farmers have those accesses to those opportunities to get involved in agriculture when they may have never been able to do that. So, you know, obviously we're focused on all of those areas to find ways to allow anyone that wants to get involved in agriculture to have an opportunity to do it. But at the same time, we're working to tell that story every day. We need more people in agriculture. The average age of a farmer right now is about 58 years old. And it's concerning. And that's concerning to people like myself. Because I know that we've got to significantly increase the amount of food that we produce here at home to continue to allow our food supply to be secure and successful and be able to provide the food that we need over the next 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years. In some cases, we've got to be able to double our food production here in America to be able to supply the food we need over the next 30 to 50 years. And that's going to come through innovation, that's going to come through investment, and it's going to come through giving people opportunities to be involved in agriculture that they may have never thought about being involved in that industry. So all of these are opportunities and ways we're looking at doing that. And I'm proud to help lead that effort, lead that conversation with your Commissioner of Agriculture, and proud to talk about some of those this morning. Thank you.
So interesting, average age, 58 years old. Interesting. One thing about our contract with Black America and our tour, just like we had back in November, ladies and gentlemen, this is to inspire. These groups are trying to, hopefully folks in the audience, y'all watching, you have family members or friends, whatever, and to inspire. To Commissioner Harper's point, that's why we're doing this. So I'm very curious. Well, Eddie, I gotta hear what you gotta say. So we're gonna start talking to some of the farmers. How long you had a farm?
I was raised on the one. I've owned it ever since '86. 1986.
So you're a third generation? Five generations. So, Eddie, tell the audience, first of all, tell us what your name is, where your farm is, and what you grow, and tell us about it.
My name is Eddie Slaughter. I'm from Bella Vista, Georgia. I'm 72 years of age. I have Angus cows, chickens. Looking this year, it's planting year coming upon us, planting season is. So we'll be probably not so much traditional agriculture. We've gotten away from the soybeans, the cotton, and all that, the grains and corn. And we're more into the produce side of things, as far as. And we'll be doing corn, but a lot of okra, tomatoes. Close. How about that? Close enough? You want to hear it?
Turn it on.
Turn it on. We'll give them mic.
And not only that, we don't handle this kind of quick. But anyway, we as Black farmers have been having a fight with the United States Department of Agriculture really ever since 1999. Y'all may have heard of the historic case of Bigfoot versus Glickman. And in that there, what happened is that, let me just kind of give y'all an overview of why the Black farmers ended up in this situation. Black farmers was the backbone of the civil rights struggle.
Yes.
Many people don't realize this, but any time that you had people to sit in at lunch counters, and they was locked them up in droves, it was the Black farmers that had the land. So we went to Vaughn, we went to Baylor.
Yes.
So that's what it meant to us. And even in, I think it was 1962, when they locked up Dr. Martin Luther King in Albany, Georgia. And the most racist judge on the bench at the time was a judge called J. Robert Elliott. He had a picture of Rocky Leo one show with a picture of the rebel flag over up. And the news media came out that he was going to send Martin Luther King to the most violent, roughest prison in the state of Georgia, Reedfield State Prison. With Black farmers and Baker, Mitchell, Daughtry, and a couple of counties around said they gave Dr. Martin Luther King a bond, even if it was $1 million. We had the land and the acreage to go to Bond and to go to Baker. This was in 1962. So we have been, Black farmers, we really was the backbone of the civil rights struggle, from the freedom riders and all. That we were the one that always went to Bond and went to Baker. Except for those campaigns where they wanted to overrun the jail, we was the backbone of the guy. And with that said, and because they realized, trying to figure out how could they control and stop the civil rights movement. And that's when they began to expropriate the land and take the land from Black farmers. And they did it, USDA did it, and they did it by illegal means. then we went on further that when Barack Obama became president, and I think in 2008 or 9, and he signed a $1.2 million settlement to solve claim with black farmers. Not one black farmer received justice, and nobody was there asked where did those $1 billion go. And now we're going to fast forward to just recently, because on March the 1st, quite a few of us in this room will be going to Washington, D.C. to demand that the Secretary of Agriculture, Grant Williams himself, Tom Vilsack, resign or be removed. And if they can't do it, then we're going to have to let Joe Biden know that we as black farmers, we will not be able to support the Jim Crow Joe administration any longer. Because when he put him there, he understood, because this is the third rodeo for Tom Vilsack. He was the one that did all this damage under the Obama administration. And when he got elected president, I think James Clyburn out of South Carolina, all over the country, they said, no, don't put this guy back. You know, he has a history of these kinds of things. And not only that, when he was the governor of Iowa, he had over 6,000 blacks filed complaints against him. But they still put him in there because they knew under him, they would not return to us almost 1 million acres of land that we have won in the court. Face the fact that even now, equal justice under the law do not exist in this country for the black and the poor. And the very interesting thing about it, this last go round, 3 times since Joe Biden has been our president, that they have appropriated the money. And they agreed that, and a lot of people listen to the news media and they got it wrong. They said, oh, these poor black farmers, they don't went out there and borrowed this money from USDA, and now they done failed and they can't get it back, and now they want us to give them that. That is an absolute lie. We won it in the court.
Yeah.
In this country, won it.
Yeah.
And not just blacks and whites, Democrats, Republicans. A lot of people don't want to see them return to us 1 million acres of land, debt-free, for argument. So we are going to Washington, D.C. on March the 1st, or March the 3rd would be 26 years that we have been fighting the Pickford Glickman lawsuit in this country. And 3 times, do y'all remember the Build Back Better program? They appropriated money in there to pay the black farmers. But Secretary of Vilsack refused. Then they did with the American Rescue Plan. And they put the money in there and appropriated the money for us. And we still didn't get paid. They did not return to us our land. Yes, sir.
I love you, brother.
Okay, good.
All the reasons why it's important to build, to resurrect our generation of growth, to inspire the growth. But I just want to say this real quick on behalf of Commissioner Hart for coming here. I'm really excited about him being the new Ag Commissioner, being a 7th generation and really caring. We're moving forward. We're going to go forward with great tools and ideas, and as he said, innovative ideas. And that's what my prayers are hoping for, that someone in this room is inspired among some beautiful farmers that have had skin in the game for many, many years. And guys, we know what has happened in the past. We all have a story. My uncles, Martin King's uncle, they said, we all have a story. I understand that. But we're going to go forward. We're going to inspire. Someone in this room is going to be inspired to resurrect their wealth, their farm, take their dad's farm and their children's. You know, this is what this is all about. This is where these ideas generate out of. So I'm elated and happy that everyone is here, but that's mainly what we're looking to. And Andy, thank you for your testimony. But I want to get going forward. Where's Miss Ross at? Valerie Ross. Is she here? Can I say female farmer? Can you stand up, please? A female farmer For all the ladies in the house, Bill Farms too. Yeah, Ms. Ross, tell us about your farm. Tell us, inspire.
Well, family, think of what, 4 generations, Abrams Farm, in Waynesboro, Keithville, Georgia. My grandfather started the farm over 70 years ago. My uncle, Lucius Abrams, his brothers are primarily the ones who've been farming the land for over 50 years. I'm the next generation. I started out with my own small farm in my yard, and so I've learned a lot farming from my family and from my uncles.
Awesome. Can I get a deal on some peaches?
Well, we've got peaches, but collards, turnips.
Okay.
Potatoes, tomatoes, we definitely have the cows, we definitely have all of those things on the farm.
Is that Uncle Lucius to your left?
Yes.
Uncle Lucius, you have to. Give us an inspiration, Uncle Lucius.
Well, I got a long story, guys.
They have a long story.
Anyway, my name is Lucius Abrams. I'm a third generation farmer, and I thought about it the other day. Over half of my life, over 30 years ago, myself and 5 other guys, we filed the Black Farmers lawsuit against USDA and then the Pickett and Brewington lawsuit. And I traveled all across the country, we found out that Black farmers had lose like over 13 million acres of land. They only had 3 billion. And under the Pickett lawsuit that we traveled across the country, related a lot of the ones we had expired who that we thought that was going to solve it back then. And myself, Laura, Park, and some of the other guys, and also we have been fighting to help save 1.5 billion acres of land. There's only 3 left. And you see all these great publicity stuff, I call them. Like a lot of people thought that when Senator Warnock and Wilson and Mr. Savanoff, they made that big announcement that the Black farmers would fit in right up all the debts and make them whole again. And as of today, it hadn't happened over 2 years ago. And a lot of people didn't realize, even other people in the Brewington lawsuit, me as a named plaintiff, I said, why the Kavanaugh sat down when they told him to play the lead flag. Now, I'm a kind of commission, so I got tested. I said, well, Lucy, you're not there for yourself. You serve in Burke County. How can I stand for the flag? But I stand for it because I'm serving as a kind of commissioner, like you who serve the people. I have not been able to get a hearing on the marriage. Going on 27 cents people lost. All these Black farmers around here, they is not receiving, we started going through. We haven't received anything. And you mentally need resources. And for the last 30 years, they would have me hostage because when under the people, under that lawsuit, you're not able to farm, anything you get lawsuit, including your income tax. And Black farmers, we ready to go to work. But we've been held hostage here in the United States of America. And a lot of people, that can't be going on here in America. Yes, how can a lawyer set up a conspiracy where you can't get a hearing on the marriage? And I see several can get a hearing on the marriage. This is what Black farmers do. That's a horror system like Black farmers in America, all across the country. So, Mr. Secretary, if we need your help, and we need it better.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ross.
Yeah.
I'd like to, LaShawn,
right? Oh, I love the light. Can you guys tell? Okay, so what are some grants available to minority farmers? And what, if any, benefits can Georgia Agriculture Commission do to help minority farmers?
Well, it'll be similar to what we've already talked about. The one grant we definitely have is the one I mentioned earlier, is that local food procurement assistance grant, which is specifically to buy product from minority farmers around the state, and then that product then is distributed throughout the food bank network throughout the state, which is that program I mentioned that we got the flyer on. And if you're interested in that, we'd love to have you look at that, sign up and apply, and hopefully be able to help us connect our the most needy across our state, the food insecure across our state, with our minority producers across the state. So there's about $23 million in that program that we're overseeing, that we're executing and trying to get out across every single day. As far as other grants, I know we got some of our bankers on the panel there. There typically are some federal opportunities through USDA, through FSA, through SBA. Some of those are loan programs that I know our banker friends on the panel can speak to a lot better than I can. That gives opportunities for folks to get involved in agriculture. But at the same time, I think I'll follow up on what I talked about a second ago. In what we did last year in creating the Urban Ag Specialist Program, which is going to work with our small farms around, especially in urban agricultural communities, to help us ensure that we're investing in that every single day. But obviously, we're working at the department to find ways to ensure that people have access to be successful in agriculture. That's what we're focused on. That's what we're going to do. And I think an example of some programs that are going on right now, I haven't even talked about this, but Fort Valley State, which is a HBCU here in the state of Georgia, which has an agricultural college. They partnered with the University of Georgia and the Ag School at UGA. They have a Rising Scholars program to provide our students at Fort Valley State with opportunities that Fort Valley may not provide, that they do provide at the University of Georgia. So I think those are awesome partnerships as well to give our young men and women in primarily minority communities opportunities that they may not have otherwise had. So there are programs, there are opportunities. The biggest one we're working on is that LFTA grant right now for the Department of Ag. But obviously, we're always looking at other ways to invest and ensure that all communities that want to be involved in agriculture are involved. And if there's specific ways we can help the minority community, we'll do that.
Brother Bruce, I just real quick want to bring our attention back to this beautiful theme, winning hearts and minds in Black America and Brown America, concerned communities for America. So get in touch with your church leaders right away and let them know some of what's going on as well. Thank you.
Is it safe to, Matthew, at the end of the deal on the $23 million, is it safe you can help out with assistance with some of the folks that are interested in that money? Is that cool? Can I do that? Yes, sir. Okay. I put you on the spot. So. Yeah. All right.
He's got all the details.
Okay. Well, Matt, raise your hand, Matt. So everybody interested in the $23 million, great. He'll walk you through it. Write the check.
Because we have people in here on different levels, someone asked, what is the Georgia Farm Bureau?
The Georgia Farm Bureau? So the Georgia Farm Bureau is, so Farm Bureau was established, I can't remember when, but many, many years ago. There's an American Farm Bureau, and Georgia has an arm of that, Georgia Farm Bureau. The president of the Georgia Farm Bureau is Tom McCall. He was the long-time chairman of the House Agriculture Committee here in the state of Georgia. He's a farmer from Elberton, Georgia. The Georgia Farm Bureau is a private entity. It's not government related, but they are a farm advocacy organization, an agricultural advocacy organization. They work to ensure that farm issues, farmer, producer, and rancher issues, and agricultural issues are at the forefront in the policy arena, both here in the state of Georgia as well. On the federal level, they do a phenomenal job in promoting and protecting agriculture across the state and ensuring that policymakers know the issues that are going on in agriculture. Zippy Duval is the president of the American Farm Bureau, and Zippy is a Georgia boy too. So we have a Georgian who is president of American Farm Bureau from Greene County. Great guy and doing a phenomenal job on leading those efforts. But again, Georgia Farm Bureau is an entity that private entity that promotes agriculture. They also have an insurance company too. So I'm sure Tom McCall will be happy to be telling you if you're not a member of Farm Bureau, he would love to have you as a member of Georgia Farm Bureau. So but that's who Georgia Farm Bureau is.
Awesome. All right, where can they find out the specific grants that are currently available? Where can they go to find them?
As far as the Department of Agriculture is concerned, you can go to our website and find out information. I would push you also to USDA's website. I don't know if y'all have any. I'll pitch it to Neil.
Well, what I would say is your local USDA office is a great resource. I know from personal experience there is an EQIP grant.
Oh, yeah.
An EQIP grant which is available to socially disadvantaged farmers. That grant will allow you, it's actually through the Natural Resource Conservation Agency, and it will allow you to finance fencing, installation of water feeders, cattle, and that sort of thing. All that's available through the EQIP grant. Most of what Neil and I do is lending, but there are loan programs that are available directly through the USDA and also USDA guaranteed loans, which are available where the USDA will partner with a bank like ours and guarantee the financing.
I'll just add to that I believe I've got this right. I got it wrong. I apologize. It's USDA.gov/MEATS, MEATS. They have grant programs listed there. It's related to the food supply chain program. And then under the USDA's 1RD, and that's one word, ONERD, you can Google that. There are some Rural Energy for America program credits, we'll hear it called REAP a lot of times. And there's grants there to help farmers or really anyone in rural America get more energy efficient operations. Maybe you need to change out some of the roofing, the ventilation, legible freezers. Or you may just need to put in renewable energy sources, reduce kind of behind the meter technology. But like Corey said, we've got loans we do, which USDA and SBA both will guarantee our loans with borrowers. But then also there's some financing and grants. USDA.gov/MEATS. And then I would say Google USDA 1RD and look under the Rural Energy for America program.
What kind of car park? What kind of an interest rate and then what's allowed part of the guarantee loan that y'all offer?
So our interest rates are market interest rates. If you go to the bank and go to get a conventional loan, it's very similar to that. With that, USDA does require us to be fully collateralized based on the bank's loan policies. So it's really not a lot of difference than if you come and get a conventional loan. The big difference is in some programs, USDA will guarantee up to 80 or 90% of the loan for us. So where we may be on the fence and going, can we really do this? Are we sure? We're not, I don't know. That guarantee pushes you over the fence, obviously. The other benefit to anyone for those programs, especially I think minority farmers or socially disadvantaged groups is for real estate, you get like a 30-year loan. And a lot of times the conventional bank lending is 20 years for real estate. Lastly, we just hold this out. I must be a farmer, because I'm not used to this stuff. I grew up on a Christmas tree farm, so there was a lot of fertilizer and there wasn't any money. The other thing it removes, USDA does not allow banks to place a balloon payment on the loan. And in my opinion, that is probably the most important risk to mitigate for any farmer or small business. And why it's important is in a balloon payment, the principal balance is unpaid after like 5 years, plus the accrued interest since your last month payment or last annual payment. It all comes due at one time. And you are relying on the bank to renew your loan, or to give you enough notice that you can go refinance the loan with another institution or raise money to pay it off. That's not allowed with USDA or SBA financing. With those financing purposes, you can't balloon. It's got to be a straight, 30 years for real estate, 15 years for equipment, 10 years possibly for equipment SBA, or 7 years for working capital. So if you have land, you have assets, and you're going, I need some working capital, I need to improve my facilities, maybe you have a chicken house, and you can be more energy efficient, you can do a little bit more with it, then those are programs that really are helpful, because you get the financing, you can improve your operation, it doesn't add a lot of debt pressure, maybe individual would, but at the same time it removes that, I call it benefits, because the loan comes due and all of a sudden there's a pandemic, or the financial crisis against some down years, we need to don't have to worry about it.
So the guarantee
Right.
is saying that you said the same loan.
Very simple.
Very simple. Collateral wise, dollar for dollar.
I can't do 100% on them. We're real estate, we may be 85 cents of the dollar. We may, depending if it's raw land, we may be a little bit less on that. But we can work with borrowers a lot of times. I mean, I tell you, get involved there, start talking to us or any bank that you're working with first. Let's help craft this together. If it's equipment, new equipment, 70, 80 cents on the dollar. You can get to 90 cents on the dollar. So with SBA, I might get to 90 cents. I may get to $1. USDA, it's a little bit less, more like 85 cents or 80 cents. So it depends on exactly what I'm financing. But what I'm saying is core down both and roll up our sleeves. We'll sit down and let figure it out. If you qualify for one of the grant programs, well, the great thing about USDA is you can later these programs. You can stack the grant with the loan in that. Sometimes we can get all kinds of programs out there that we can put into a capital stack. Is this nomenclature for it, but really it's just how we want to fund these things. And we can work with all of them. So I would say don't not call us if you go, well, I can't get $1. Right? Let's have a conversation. Let's figure out the path. Can it be done today, or is it done a year from now? That's what we'll figure out. Well, let's have a conversation and let's see how it gets done.
You got the microphone. Take one more question.
Hi, my name is Julian Marcus. I'm a poultry farmer in Mitchell County, Georgia. I've been raising chickens since 1995, and I want to inspire. I keep hearing that word, inspire. I have been able to access direct loan from the United States Department of Agriculture, guarantees from the United States Department of Agriculture. I'm in the EQIP program to upgrade my poultry houses. I have used the REAP program to build solar panels at my poultry farm. So I'm here to tell you that it can be done. My journey can be, you can see my journey if you go to the Golden Triangle RCD website where you'll see just Google Julian Marcus, and you'll see my story there with the RCMP did an expose on me with the United States Department of Agriculture, touting how their programs helped me to continue to be in the poultry business. It is a hard business, and it hasn't been easy. Also, I've had my share of raw knockdown, drag-outs with the Farm Service Agency and trying to borrow money from them. In 2018, my farm was devastated by the tornado. At that time, I had a loan that was being serviced through the Farm Service Agency, and my loan was current. I wasn't delinquent in my payments or anything. And when my houses were devastated, my loan officer decided that instead of me using the farm, using the insurance proceeds to rebuild the houses that had been decimated by the storm, I was directed that I had to pay off my loan on the spot. Therefore, instead of me being able to continue to grow with my farm, I was, I was set back. That issue has set back generational wealth. My daughter, who is here today, she'll be farming unless I'm able to rebuild those houses now. She'll be farming if she decides to less houses than her dad. So this, I want to say to each and every one of you, that this can be done. But there is a fight that has been fought many years prior to me, and it's a fight that we are still fighting now. So don't be discouraged, just you have to stand and fight. And one of the things that I want to encourage each and every one of us to do, that if you're interested in agriculture, and you need these grants, these loans, you want to access these programs, we need to inundate the system with our applications. Make them have to come to the table and address these loan programs and these grant programs and these grant opportunities with you and I. We're not just doing it for the people in this room, we're doing it for the generations. Initially in 1995, my father and I started out as a partnership, and we built 4 chicken houses, 40 by 500, a small footprint, and we basically grew about 80,000 chickens 4 times a year. How many? 80,000 4 times a year, so 320,000 chickens a year. Basically, I know 4 or 5 million pounds of poultry per year. Listen, folks, that is a drop in the bucket. There are farmers out there that started out with 10 chicken houses, but there are some farmers that were only allowed to start out with 2 or 3 or 4 chicken houses. And I want to challenge the commission that we need to do something to help Black farmers get into the poultry business. And I do understand that it's a private industry, and private industry has its powers also. But when I started out in 1995, there were 10 Black families that had poultry houses in Southwest Georgia. Basically, from what I understand, there was about 600 or 700 poultry houses with just this one integrator. So out of 600 poultry houses, minority families own 10, 15 maybe. That has dwindled over time because they've aged out. Also, it is important to be able to access, and the only reason, you'll see that in the expose that Golden Triangle RCMP did for me, that the only reason I was able to stay in this program is because of the the government help and help me to stay in and above or ahead of the technology curve. Technology and innovation are key to being competitive in the poultry business. So therefore, I'm happy on one side of government and sad on the other side. But still, I want to inspire that we can do it. What we have got to do is we have to inundate the system at every level. If he's saying there are jobs out there, we need to be finding us to put in. If there are projects out there, then we need to be trying to apply for them. If there are grants, we need to apply. Go to your integrator. Go buy the land. We need to go to these integrators, to the Sanderson Farms in Southwest Georgia, to the Tyson Foods in Southwest Georgia, and let the people know that we want to grow chickens. More than likely, we're going to get a no. But every now and then, there'll be a breakthrough, and that has to be your inspiration. That we can do it, but we again have to inundate the system with our application.
Thank you. Can I find out the product claim back to your?
Yeah, come on. So I would like to invite the commissioner and an entourage to come and visit Marcus Poultry. You'll see when you look at that video, you'll see where I was, and then when you come to my farm, you'll see where I am. And you
Did you do that? Cool. All right, let's for the sake of time, I'm gonna go back over to our questions.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So you guys talked about land, and we have a couple questions on land. Anybody interested about land? Yes? Okay, cool. So the first one is, all land is not suitable for farming. What programs are available from the Department of Agriculture to help us locate and purchase properties viable for farming?
So yes, you're right, not all land is suitable for farming. Look, anything we can do to help farmers and producers find and be able to be successful in the ag industry, we want to do that. We don't necessarily have any programs that looks for land for purchase. That's not necessarily what we do at the department, but obviously if there's ways that we can help help somebody find an opportunity, we're willing to do what we can to help in that arena, but we don't necessarily have any program specifically geared for finding farmland for purpose. We're always willing to help out. We don't try to find ways to get involved. So.
Pivoting on that question, Commissioner, if someone in the room identifies a particular property, can the agency come down and give an opinion, some level of analysis? Is this doable? Is this viable for your agency? I think that's more in line with that.
Yeah, probably that would probably be more in line. That would really be more along the line of the extension service for the University of Georgia and what they do. The department doesn't necessarily have we don't necessarily have
the extension.
So the University of Georgia and Fort Valley State both have extension agents and extension services. So you can go through Fort Valley State or through the University of Georgia College of Ag. Those extension agents, there's extension agents in every county across the state of Georgia, and those extension agents can help answer that specific question and see if that particular area is viable for agricultural purposes. And the extension services, and we didn't really talk about that, but I'll be honest with you, in addition to what we do at the department, the extension services across the state, like I said, they are in every county. Those are resources that you can definitely tap into to help you in the agricultural world to understand what's going on, to kind of put you in the right direction. They can help point you in the right direction when it comes to opportunities in agriculture, not only through USDA and FSA and SBA, but also through the Department of Ag and NRCS, among others. So I would encourage you to reach out to your extension service also in your home county. They can help with those kind of things, and they can help you ensure that what you're looking at may be suitable.
I would definitely encourage everybody to
go and visit your USDA office. As Mr. Julian said, there are a ton of resources in that office that are available to you that are largely untapped. My personal experience with the office, I went to the USDA office initially looking for financing to purchase my home. I ended up doing that with a bank directly. But then I went back looking to finance fencing for my home. And rather than getting a loan, the USDA office turned me onto the EQIP grant, which is free money, right? And so I would encourage you to go to this office, free with strings, right? Nothing but strings. But it's basically a cost sharing program. And through that program, the EQIP program, they will also help you if you do have land and you need to get that land to a condition where you can farm on it. They will help you with that process. They will help you finance the seeds, the fertilizer, the herbaceous weed control. All those things are available at the USDA office. So I would encourage everyone, if you're interested in farming, go spend some time there. There are programs specifically designed for socially disadvantaged farmers to help you not only if you are already a farmer, but to get started. There's a beginning farmer program that's available through the USDA to help you get started. So I would encourage everyone, if you have an opportunity to go to the USDA office in your county.
Where can they find location? How do they find those offices?
If you go to the USDA's website, it will list all the offices. There are several, and if you're in a rural community, there's no question you have one.
You know the website?
USDA.gov.
USDA.gov, okay. Real quick, we gotta give a shout out. As a reference to land, Earl Coleman, big time broker, he'll sell you some land. He'll buy you some. It's right there standing in the back room, so I see you back there, brother. But say you have another question, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to comment on the individual asked for just a moment ago in terms of land.
Tell me who you are.
My name is Earl Coleman with Coldwell Beverly Commercial, and we work with minority communities to give them what their dreams are. So if you need dirt, and I also partner with the extension offices through the UGA in order to assist you in creating the business plan in order to get approved by SBA. So it's kind of a stair-step action plan, went from a dream to making it happen. So I do that. So if anybody wants to, I'm sure Bruce has my information, so you can connect with him and they can connect with me. But I'll be here for a little while.
Could you say your name one more time?
Earl Coleman, Coldwell Banker Commercial. #1 office in the country.
Listen, they're gonna connect with you. I'm not gonna be your secretary. Hey,
No problem.
But I've known her about 25 years, and I have to say, I'll just give a little history. If you see a McDonald's in the last 25, you put it there. You did.
McDonald's all over Redlands, absolutely.
You ready?
Absolutely.
Yes, so someone asked, can this information be put on the Black Wall Street website, just so there's like a centralized location that isn't asked? The next question is, as a new farmer, how do we find contracts to distribute or sell our products?
I think, pointed at me.
Yeah, you on the hot seat.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Welcome to the.
Yeah, exactly. First off, on the new Black Wall Street deal, obviously, if y'all are willing to put links to the department, we'll be happy for you to do that. Our Georgia Drone program, among other things, and talking about new Black Wall Street, what Mr. Allen has done here in the team. I want to say a quick word that this is phenomenal, given opportunities here in your community. I think there's a lot of opportunity here to build out and find ways for agriculture to be involved in for ways that we might be able to partner to make that happen. But as far as market access, our Georgia Drone program is a perfect example of that. You can go to georgiadrone.com. You can become a member of Georgia Drone. That helps give you some visibility throughout the state of the products that you sell. And obviously, our marketing team helps advertise our Georgia Grown program all over, not just all over the state, not all over the country, but we advertise all over the world and helping connect farmers and producers to markets all in a variety of different capacities. So our Georgia Grown program is what does that for Georgia producers here in the state of Georgia. So you, like I said, you can go to GeorgiaGrown.com to learn more about what that looks like and how we can do that. But obviously, there's other ways that we can be beneficial and help. We want to do that. And we've done that through these farm to food bank programs, which we have been overseeing at the Department of Agriculture and helping connecting farmers to our food bank network. And any way that we can connect the farm to the fork. At the end of the day, that's what this is about, right? Is getting the farm and the fork closer together and giving producers the access that they need to be able to sell their product, but also give folks the ability to know where their products come from and know how to access that product. But by bringing that bridge closer together, we're able to ensure that we get more of that retail dollar back to the family farm. And that's something that's been an issue over the last few years that we have to continue to address because that retail dollar back to the family farm has declined by about 20% over the last 10 years. And that's going in the wrong direction. So connecting the farm to the fork and putting those two closer together helps ensure that. And obviously in the Department of Agriculture, we're working every day to find ways to make that happen. So.
And Commissioner, Secretary of Agriculture, I want to thank you for coming out today, and also Bruce, I want to thank you for having this conversation today. I'm Matt Hampton. I'm the director of the New Black Wall Street Market. Our founder, Mr. Leicester Bill Allen, couldn't be here today. And the first thing I want to say is that the New Black Wall Street Market, Bruce, is committed to making sure that this is not a one-time conversation, but the beginning of a long-term relationship with the Black farmers who are here and also the audience. We are part of the SBA NAVGA grant that allows us to help Black folks figure out how to put the pieces together and start these businesses. And we feel like this is a very important sector of business development. So I want you all to know that, yes, we will, put the links up to all of the resources that you all offer, Secretary. And we also will be committed to have more convenings like this, because what I envision is that we can create a system where it goes from Black farm to Black fork here at the New Black Wall Street Market, and we can really connect with each other. We also are starting our own farmers market here. It'll be an indoor-outdoor farmers market that'll start April 15th. And we would like to consult with the farmers in the room so that you all can tell us how to get this right. And so we're going to be working on that piece, and we hope to work with our Department of Agriculture to look at the future and how we can push farming forward in Georgia. Also, while I have the mic, and I want you guys after this, we are committed to bring in 1 million people. Y'all see our 1 million challenge in the back of the room. We would invite you all to sign up on our banner. You have t-shirts that say I'm 1 in a million, and it gives you access to a free party at the end of the year. So we want to encourage you all to be part of our 1 in a million challenge. Raise your hand back there. All right, cool. So that's where you can learn about our challenge. And again, we want you all to know that the New Black Wall Street, we want to be the place where this conversation continues. And so if you guys are interested in having more conversations around how we put the businesses together that can become part of the industry, or how we strengthen those existing farms, we want to continue to do this. Bruce, you started something that I think has the potential to really help us advance our mission, which is to increase the number and size of minority and women-owned businesses throughout the United States and globally. So I want to thank you all for coming here. I want to make sure that before you leave, make sure that you shop with our 200 Black-owned businesses that are here in this market. Thank you all so much.
All that information is not given out there to quite a people that have been unfortunate to go into them, and we really need to know the rules and regulations and how you're going to be able to get certified or get a license.
So you can find all that information on our website at agr.georgia.gov, and the hemp program information is there. and it gives you information on how to get a license, what that process looks like, and obviously we're working to ensure the hemp industry is successful in our state. I actually carried the hemp legislation when I was in the Senate to establish the hemp, to help establish the hemp industry in the state of Georgia. I know Andy's here, who's involved in the hemp industry in the state of Georgia. He's a hemp farmer from over in East Georgia, Andy Kennedy over here. So there, he's involved. And we have some legislation to work with the General Assembly on this session to help open it up a little bit more, to make it an industry that can be significantly successful in our state, and the Department of Agriculture is committed to doing that. But if you'll go to our website, all the information regarding the hemp program is there, and obviously if you have any questions, you can reach out to our office. We'll be happy to help guide you in what that looks like.
Andy, we put you on the spot. Stand up, bro. Tell us about that. Let's quit. Tell us who you are.
Andy Kennedy, fourth generation farmer, Southeast Georgia. Been growing hemp for 12 years. With hemp program. So if anybody have any questions about hemp, I give you back my number 770-375-1655. Talk to you about anything hemp related. Also, we have an organization we started called AgriUnity, where we're basically farmers that basically growing hemp, going out for your growing, where we take you through the whole process of getting your license and what we learn the hard way, and which basically teach you and show you to make sure you don't have the same landmines that we step in. Feel free to give your call, Andy Kennedy, 770-375-1655.
Thank you.
Can I repeat the number again? 770-375-1655. All right. Does Community Gardens meet the criteria for any of your grants? And can communities tap into the Georgia Grown procurement system?
So, as far as grants, the programs that we oversee, they all have their own specific requirements, so everything is different. But for the most part, I would say yes. I do know USDA FSA also changed the rules and what's required to what is applicable to receive a farm number when it comes to farm assistance. So that has recently changed. So that's changed those opportunities. And then as far as what you can find out all that information on our website, GeorgiaGrown.com, and obviously we'll help all of those programs that I've mentioned already, and ways that we can work together to ensure farms support.
Got it. So I know my role is just to ask questions, and I think that's the biggest. But we're not going to let we're going to let people want to go and pursue and get what we need. So you guys can agree to do some research once you leave here today? Yes, awesome. Great. You mentioned the program concerning warehouse and container growing. Where is that information, and what can be done about it right now if they're ready?
That's a good question, and it goes into what you just mentioned. It takes a little bit of research and trying to find that information. I would just encourage you to research controlled environment agriculture. That's kind of what that's the big umbrella over what that program is. And so there's actually an operation at Georgia Grown Innovation Center down in Better, where they are doing some of that. So you might look into contacting the Georgia Grown Innovation Center down in Lebanon, Georgia. They have a containerized unit there, a farm, containerized controlled environment agricultural operation in that facility. So you might can find out some more information from them. But that's what you'll need to look into to find out what that is, or how you get involved.
There's another term for that, greenhouse.
Actually, it is, but it's different. So it is greenhouse, but it's different than a greenhouse. It's a lot more involved. So it can be a larger greenhouse, but in some cases it's containerized units where you can be light always inside that unit.
You know where a good example is for the audience to go. Look at one.
Honestly, the Georgia Home Center in Metter is where there's one that's located there. There's also a large facility down in the area of controlled environment ag operation. But obviously, yes, houses are perfect for that. But it has to be distant from the controlled environment. So it's some greenhouses are still subject to elements, where this would be completely enclosed and controlled.
Awesome. So we talked about farming, but what about manufacturing, processing plants, and distribution? Where can they get support for that information?
So there is, I would argue, probably the one place where we have significant opportunity in the agricultural industry in the state of Georgia is the further processing. We do a really good job in Georgia of producing a raw product, and we have a lot of opportunity to take that raw product to a further processed product before it gets to the market. We have a lot of opportunity in our state to do that. There are a few programs out there that can help connect a processing facility, or smaller processing facilities to opportunities to provide those food products, just like the LFDA grant that's out there. So there are those opportunities as well. And we are managing some of those at the Department of Agriculture on the processing side. So obviously that's always an opportunity if you're interested in further food processing or meat processing. That is definitely some opportunity in our state where we have some ability to grow our ag sector in the ag.
Part of that dials right into the food supply chain program USDA launched in 21. My memory serves me correct. It set aside about $1 billion roughly to help with I call it the middle of the food supply chain. So, if you're a farmer, you're a grower, it's not going to help you that much at all. If you're the retailer and selling to the public, it's not going to help you that much. It is to strengthen the middle of the food supply chain. So, if you're a transport, if you are, the question I got a few weeks ago was space to get for food trucks just to be able to work out of, providing space, providing transportation. If you're building distribution, if you're looking at processing, that is the sweet spot of the food supply chain. It is to build resiliency and security within the food supply chain. So farm to fork, it's the conduit in between and strengthening that conduit. So if something does happen, it goes above the night, you've got resiliency in that. There are guaranteed loan programs there that are very, very. Earlier I talked about the zones where you qualify for that. That program doesn't have any zones. You can be downtown Atlanta. I literally have a request from New York City for that for distribution for the grab and goes at your something like that. So I would strongly encourage if you're a farmer, you're going, I need more distribution. I need transportation. Who are you working with? How can we help them that distribution? And it's not a debt refinance program. People can use funds, but refinancing debt you have to expand. You have to add to the overall food supply chain. And you got to show feasibility study requirement that says how is what you're doing impacting the overall food supply chain of the United States, but also of Georgia. We got to take care of ourselves. We take care of everyone else in that. So there's grants as well as loan guarantees in that program, meats site that helps with that, but you can reach out to the board about it.
Also, we have one more question. Can heirs property be converted into a trust? And how can families best protect their land assets and utilize it for agriculture development?
That is a good question.
Who asked that question? Raise your hand. Awesome.
So I'm going to utilize this question to talk about a piece of legislation we're working on this session in the General Assembly. My good friend, Senator Russ Goodman, the chairman of the Senate Ag Committee, is carrying this. I am 100% in support of my commissioner. And basically what this legislation would do is allow, through conservation easement program, if passed into law, it would allow farm operations and individuals in the ag community to put their agricultural property and their into that easement, and it will protect that land forever for the purposes of agricultural production. It's something that has been done in about 29 other states, I believe. So it's not a new concept. It just hasn't been done in the state of Georgia. So this is one of those things that protect generational opportunities for agriculture in the state of Georgia. And I think this is a tremendous opportunity for us to ensure that we're protecting our #1 industry. And it gets back to that whole conversation of protecting the food supply chain and food security, and recognizing that agriculture is national security. And if we want to ensure that we're safe as a community, state, and nation, we've got to protect this industry. And this is one of the ways that we can do that. So we look forward to getting this legislation across the finish line to ensure that we're working to find ways to allow farmers and producers across the state, families across the state, to have the option of participating in this to protect agricultural production lands for generations. So we're really happy about this. It's an awesome opportunity to ensure that our #1 industry can be successful.
All right, I know you got to go to other places. This guy can go to 5 places in one day. I'm gonna let our executive director close this out, but I just want to everyone give all our great farmers a hand. Please converse some of our audience and talk to them and talk about how you got going and how you sustained your farm. Maybe you'll inspire someone to quote generational wealth from this program. And I'm going to turn it over to our executive director.
All right, thank you all so much for being here. I would love to extend a thank you to Commissioner Harper for his time and his leadership with us today. Also, to our panelists, to our board member, Bruce Lavelle, for really taking the lead in this New Black Wall Street, for being our partner in our host in these conversations with Black America. But more importantly, I'd like to thank you all for being here, for participating, for asking some really amazing questions. We had a lot of good notes. And I just wanted to remind you that the purpose of these conversations, isn't to, just talk. It's for us to listen and to create and inspire, as I said, change and action in our communities. So everything that we talked about here today, not only do you have a charge of, doing your research and then, acting on what you've learned, but we have a charge of putting these ideas and these thoughts together into a legislative agenda package that we're going to submit to our congressional champions. Our goal is that these are beginnings of conversations, and then those conversations turn to action. That action turns to change, and we start to see the fruits of those favors that, people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Alvin King's uncle, started years ago. I'm a young millennial. I'm a little bit older, but I'm only 27, and I'm a person of action. And CCA is an organization of action. So as long as you are participating, you are being a part of that as well. I encourage you to continue on with us. You can go to our website, concernedcommunities.org, sign up for our email alerts, keep in the loop of things as we're progressing. And I just wanted to say one more time, thank you all so much. This has been an amazing conversation. Make sure you stick around. around, we network with people at the table, people around the table. You all know fantastic.
Real quick, real shout out to Bobette Yates and Channel 46 News in the back. Thank you for covering them, putting a light on Black Wall Street. Bobette, I'm sorry to put you on. Raise your hand. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much on behalf of our organization, Channel 46, Bobette Yates. Thank you.
I do want to let everyone know that this is the year of the Farm Bill for the United States Congress. And right now, they are in the process of putting the committees together to draft this Farm Bill. Be heard. Reach out to your congressmen and women, your senators, and be heard. Put your voice in. One of the big constraints that I see, that I deal with as a result from the Farm Bill, you go, how in the world does that affect banking? Is these USDA guaranteed loan programs and the grants that we talk about. Every year one of their programs runs out of money in like May. Well, the federal fiscal year starts on October 1st. That's a 5-month period of time that they got to figure out, okay, where can we get money from here? Can we get money from there? So we need additional funding from Congress to the farmers, to food supplies, to rural America. And the way we get that most directly is through the Farm Bill. And I can't remember, someone here I'm sure can tell me the Farm Bill is redone every 6 years or 7 years. It's 5 years in that. So it's important for the next 5 years we get this legislation right. Or we at least set the stage to get it right the next time if it's not everything. So just remember that. Farm Bill 2023. Talk to your congressmen and women. Make your voices heard, especially as a black farmer and minority farmer.
So don't let the bankers leave without getting their cards and making them give you money. All right, thanks. Thank y'all for coming. Down that table. Oh, cool. That's fine. I remember you were until I did my work. Good to see you again. I remember you from me. What's up, man? What do you do? Oh, I'm at first. That's I can't read about our farm.
Hey, I'll catch you. Okay. Don't get out without some contact.
Oh, I wrote it down.
Matt Ham. Matt like a mile, Ham like a got it, man. Good to you.